Hey everybody, welcome to our third week of the semester here. As I said, during the first week, we'll be doing these videos every other week. So this is that next week for a video, week 3. All right, just to recap what we should have done so far. Week 1 was where you guys contributed to that discussion forum on Barry Weiss's resignation letter from the New York Times. You had to give your initial response to the prompt based on the questions, and then you only got full credit if you also contributed to another person's, commented on another classmate's post as well. Usually for those, if you just give your initial response and you don't comment to someone else's, I give you an 85, so that's a midway B. So you didn't do the other component of the assignment, so you won't get full credit for that. If you do, answer the prompt, talk to somebody else, follow the word count, answer the questions, etc., you could get 100. Okay. Anything that's kind of incomplete, let's say you do both parts, you give your response, you respond to someone else, but it's maybe under the word count, a little incomplete, not fully developed, you could expect somewhere between a 90 and 100, or maybe even a low A to high B, like an 89 or so. Okay. So other than that, there was the SCC. Remember, that is one of our textbooks. It's called The Textbook in Blackboard on the left-hand menu when you're looking at your screen, and that is where we do all of our exercises for our modes of discourse. So we did our narrative mode of discourse. You guys had to do 3.1, that's the narration chapter, exercise 2 and 3. That's where you give a plot summary in exercise 2, and then exercise 3, you continue to flesh out that plot summary with more details, more paragraphs, using transitions. So transitions, words like then, or a phrase like all of a sudden, or you could transition with paragraphs in a sequence like first, second, third. So first, this happened. Next paragraph, then, or second, this happened. Third paragraph, finally, this happened. Okay. And as of you all looking at this video, you have turned in your journal, your first journal, on why storytelling is so critical to us as human beings. Why do we tell stories? And then the paper, the essay, the first essay, your actual narrative essay. Okay. Your narrative essay could have just been a continuation of the SCC exercises. Okay. So you were kind of building towards that the whole time. And while I'm thinking about it, one other thing that had to be turned in during the first week was the reader responses to the George Orwell and Bonnie Smith Yackle pieces, those discussion questions that I had given you guys. So what I've graded so far, as of you all watching this video, if you're watching Monday, the 24th of January, the discussion forum is graded. Okay. The SCC exercises are graded, and the response to the George Orwell and Bonnie Smith Yackle readings are graded. Okay, so those readings, we had to read from the Reader. Okay, that's the other textbook that we have, the Reader, 1101 Reader. All right, that was graded. SCC, the exercises on your narrative, transitions, plot summary, additional paragraphs with other details, and the discussion forum. Now, the way I grade things here is you have to do things, submit your work in Blackboard and on time. Okay. Journals, blogs, which we'll talk a little bit about in a few moments, and discussion forums are always going to be due on the Friday. And then the SCC reader exercises and papers, essays, are always going to be due on the Sunday. Okay. So if I didn't get anything from you in the proper place to turn things in the appropriate drop boxes by the due date and time, it is a 0. Okay. That is non-negotiable. That is how it goes. Okay. So you either do it or you don't do it. Now, of course, there's understanding for those of you who have extenuating circumstances, trouble, technical trouble, your house burned down, space aliens attacked, whatever it is, okay? But you have to let me know, all right? You can't just kind of fall behind in the course and then weeks later pop back up and say, oh, here I am. Gee, can I do the last 5 weeks of work? No, you can't, because you haven't been keeping up with me. And I didn't tell you guys this last video, but I have a day job as well. I teach middle school, okay? So I am teaching 12-year-olds 5 days a week, okay? So I can't afford to just drop everything that I'm doing, completely throw a wrench in the spokes of my schedule, and then return to you, person who's just come back after 5 weeks or whatever it is. I haven't heard from you, and poof, here you are all of a sudden, okay? No, you have to keep up with everybody else, okay? You got to keep up with us at GNTC, okay? We're all proceeding at the same pace, okay? So I'm relying on everybody to be responsible and dedicated to doing what they should be doing, turning things in at the appropriate time, etc., okay? Of course, again, some understanding is granted if you have circumstances outside of your control and technical issues and things like that, but just keep me abreast of what's going on there, and I will try to help you out and make arrangements with you for that stuff, okay? All right, so for this week, we are actually moving into a new mode of discourse. We have closed the book on our narrative unit. We will revisit our narrative essay at the second half of the term. That's where we'll revise, edit, and proofread our essay, make improvements on it, and have a chance for a higher score, okay? I will have to grade those narrative essays. Usually the customary turnaround time is 2 weeks for essays, okay? So you guys should get those back, if not this week, the following week. All right, so your narrative essays are in, your journal on narrative writing is in. Now let's move on to descriptive writing. So the whole purpose of your narrative essay was to focus on a particularly life-changing moment, like a big climatic, transformative moment that shaped you who you are today, okay? It was a first-person autobiographical account of something in your life, okay? Now we're switching over to details, descriptive details, okay? So when we do our descriptive essay in a couple of weeks, you're not focusing on necessarily telling a story. You're focusing on describing something, making something pop and come to life. Whether that thing is your grandmother or your boyfriend or girlfriend or your cat, your house, a particular emotion, whatever it is, you're going to use vivid description, concrete, vivid, specific description to help your story come to life, if it is a story. It doesn't have to be a story, whatever it is you decide to write about. We'll get into that next week. Your examples to read today, there's always a student example in SCC, and there is one for 3.2. So our work this week is in 3.2 in SCC, that is description. You will see underneath exercise 6, there was a sample description essay. Okay, so that could be a model to follow when it comes time to write your own in a couple of weeks. But back up a little bit, what we're doing this week are exercises 4 and 5. Okay, so exercise 4, you are to describe the following 5 items in a single paragraph. So the items are night, beach, city, dinner, and stranger. All of those things describe in a single paragraph. So you don't have to write 5 separate paragraphs. Put it all in one cohesive paragraph. Okay, it asks you to use the 5 senses, using imagery to make your descriptions come to life, sight, sounds, taste, touches, smells, etc. Then on exercise 5, after you've read the structure of a description essay, when we talk about structure for a description essay, we're talking about patterns of organization. Like, how do you describe, like, your house? Well, you might start by describing the front door, okay? So notice our pattern here is starting at what we see first. We open the door, what do we see next? The foyer, the hallway, dining room, whatever it is. Then we're going through the house. Where do we go next? Up the stairs. Okay, that's our next stop in our pattern of organization if we're describing our house. So exercise 5 asks you to, on a separate sheet of paper, choose an organizing strategy, all right, a pattern of organization, and execute it in a short paragraph for 3 of the following 6 items. They give you 6 items, you select 3, and put those 3 in a single paragraph. So for SCC this week, you're writing 2 paragraphs. One where you describe the items, the 5 items given to you, and then for the next paragraph, using a organizing strategy, a pattern of organization. First we're here, then we go here, then we go there. You are picking 3 out of the listed 6 and writing a paragraph for that. Okay, that's the SCC. The other thing, for our reader, we have 2 readings this week. One is Once More to the Lake by E.B. White, who himself wrote Stuart Little and Charlotte's Web. This piece is probably one of my favorites in the semester. It's very vivid and rich, a lot of details, really beautifully written. That and a piece by a writer called Bic Min Win, and she writes a piece about how she became acclimated to America as an immigrant by the Twinkie, the famous or infamous, depending on how you look at it, snack cake. So that is an interesting piece as well, talking about how she felt that she was becoming more American through this, eating and understanding of this staple junk food and piece of Americana, the Twinkie. Okay. So those 2 readings, I have discussion questions attached, okay, just like I did the first week with the narrative readings in the reader, okay. So to recap, we have our SCC exercises 4 and 5 in 3.2, the description chapter, and we have our 2 readings in the reader, and the discussion questions are attached. The only other thing, and you don't have to do blogs. Blogs are voluntary, okay? I'll throw them out every once in a while. This is your chance to reflect on our readings, okay? But blogs are voluntary. Again, you don't have to do them, but if you do the blogs, those will count as bonus points each time you contribute to a blog. There are about 3 in all for the quarter, each one being 2 points. So if you contribute to all 3 blogs, you will get plus 6 points on your research essay at the end of the term. So you don't have to do it, but if you choose to do the blog this week, it is due Friday. Remember, blogs, journals, and discussion forums are always going to be due on the Friday of the week. So in this case, that's the 28th. The blog just asks you to comment on your favorite reading from the narration chapter in our 1101 reader. So we read the George Orwell piece, and we read the Bonnie Smith-Yackel piece, My Mother Never Worked. So which of those is your favorite? And I ask you to kind of comment further on that in the blog, if you choose to do it. You don't have to. It is voluntary. Now, it's nice if you do it, okay? When it comes to be like halfway through the week and no one's done the blog, I'll start to, say, hey, is anyone going to contribute to the blog? So in a class of 17, it'd be nice to see at least half of us contribute to the blog. That tends to be how it goes anyway. So I do encourage you to contribute to the blog. Remember, that's going to be counted as bonus points on your research essay, which itself is 30% of your overall grade in this course. So it behooves you, it is to your benefit if you do contribute to the blog. Okay? So a recap, 2 things you must do: the SCC exercises in the 3.2 description chapter. And then in our 1101 reader, we have Once More to the Lake by E.B. White and Goodbye to My Twinkie Days by Bic Min Nguyen. Those things and the voluntary blog, if you choose to do it, due by Friday. The reader and SCC exercises are due by Sunday, the 30th. Okay, so with that, if there are any questions or concerns, you guys can email me. I will help you out as best I can. Please don't hesitate to contact me. Open communication and frequent communication is critical in an online course. Okay, so don't be afraid to reach out to me via email, and I'll get in touch with you. Okay. All right, everybody. That's all I got for you today. Mr. Volpe here, signing off. Hope you guys are doing well. I'll talk to you again in a couple weeks.